luckily. I guess the first two were trial and error. The first one I was in the miniature screen for about 8 minutes, and then I full sized it, and then halfway through I had to upgrade Zoom to Pro, so I had to edit that out and then no, that was the last episode. Then the first episode, it was half screen for about 8 minutes. And then the last one, I didn't full screen it till about halfway through. But this time, I got a recording, and it's already full screen. So
Yeah, hey, man. It's baby steps, right?
yeah,
You gotta get it there.
you got to start somewhere.
That's right. Yeah,
And I'm
yeah,
because it's a lot of guests that I want to get on. I mean, I'm not saying guests as in like a celebrity, but just people that I enjoy talking to.
shit, maybe. You don't know.
I mean,
You got the full screen thing going on now. So,
you said the what?
and then, in another couple months, you might have producers calling you like, "How
Yeah.
you do this stuff?"
Yeah,
Man?
I know. I mean, that's kind of what I'm hoping for. But I mean, we got to get there first. Because I mean, Joe Rogan. I mean, obviously he started out at Fear Factor, but his podcast is huge. Just because
Yeah,
he's Joe Rogan.
he's so huge though, man. He gets on my nerves, honestly, dude. I mean, I listen to his stuff. I like him. He's funny as a stand-up comic, but at some point, dude, it's like, all right, man, I don't want to listen to you no more.
Yeah, I don't think I've actually ever listened to his podcast, but
It's I would prefer just going on like YouTube and looking up his old stand-up comedy or whatever. He gets into like real political stuff, man.
yeah,
I mean, I like it. I like it when he's like on a roll with like talking about the UFC or
yeah,
like he'll have guests on that are comedians or stuff. That's cool. That's cool. But now, with especially with all these politics stuff going around, like he, jumping on that bandwagon too, and I'm like, nah, man, it's not even about that.
that's how a lot of people feel like they have to kind of, I guess, get seen. It's talk about
Yeah.
whatever it is. Like when Will Smith and Jada, everybody and their grandmother was talking about it. So,
Yeah, yeah.
and that's something.
Man, that's messed up, dude. What did you think about that?
See, that's ironic that you asked me because I was about to say most of the time I just stay away from stuff. But I mean, me and Kayla have talked about it. I mean, we don't really know, what they got going on and what the situation
Yeah,
is.
for real. Right.
I think personally, me and Kayla actually kind of agreed. I think all three of them were fucked up in the situation.
Yeah. No, I agree. It like Will is like, first of all, I think that I don't know how he got preferential treatment at that show, man, because by all accounts he should have been escorted out. Like
Yeah,
Chris Rock wasn't doing anything but his job, dude.
right.
I mean,
Yeah,
and like Will even laughed about it, man,
at
until he
first.
noticed
Yeah,
Jada's face. You know what I'm
right.
saying?
Yeah,
Then he was like, "Oh shit, I gotta
yeah,
go slap this
yeah. For us
motherfucker
sitting on
now."
the couch. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
So like, but man, the more I did, like even before then, I did some stuff, and how Jada had a mysteriously close relationship with like Tupac and this and that, and like I don't know, but and then I fell into that wormhole of rumor about Will Smith is actually the one that had Tupac killed. Like he's the one that did it. You know what I'm saying? Like because of the jealousy factor, and I mean he's been in interviews before, like saying, yeah, Jada's tried to hook us up, me and Pac, and make us be friends or whatever, but I have no interest in meeting the dude.
hmm.
And like, he was super jealous of Tupac,
I
man.
would be
So
too. Shit.
yeah, no doubt, man. Who's not jealous of somebody like that?
Yeah, I mean,
Um,
that's wild. That's why I'm saying, you
yeah,
don't
you don't
know.
really know what's going on behind closed doors,
You
man.
don't
That's
really
their
know.
marriage. You know what I'm saying? I mean, I think the Grammys or whatever, they should have handled it a little bit different. Maybe, showed some effort to protect Chris Rock.
Yeah,
Other than that, man, it's up to them, man.
yeah. Uh, I don't know. That's just why I don't really get into it because first of all, like I said, you don't know what's going on, and then second of all, it just really doesn't matter kind of what people think, And I think people forget that just because, obviously I'm not. I don't have a lot of history of seeing how things work, but back then in the maybe in the 90s, early 2000s, kind of like the media wasn't. It was big, but it was more like paparazzi, like rare kind of occasions. But now it's just, I mean, you can see celebrities doing anything, anytime,
all
you
the
know.
time. Yeah,
So,
especially with social media, man. It's crazy.
so that's why
And
I'm
like
just,
whenever something hits, like back, I remember when I was a kid, man. If something happened out in, like, I grew up in South Texas, and if something, controversial or whatever happened out in California or New York, it would take me 2 or 3 days for the media to catch up and me find out about it. But now, man, like 15 minutes, it's blown up on TikTok and all of this stuff. I mean, everything from the big, actors and actresses and celebrities and hip hop stars and all of these guys, all the way down to, a schoolyard brawl. You know what I'm
yeah,
saying? Like you can see anything now, and sometimes I think this information age is harmful to us.
yeah, it
But
is. Yeah, it really
at the
is.
same time, you can use it as education. I appreciate it for what it's
Yeah,
worth, but at the
for
same
sure.
time, man, just go back to the simpler times when I didn't even know that stuff.
Yeah, and it's kind of crazy too. Think about when I was growing up, and I'm sure it was a saying before me. It's the whole don't believe everything you read. But
Hmm.
nowadays people don't do that. You know what I'm saying? As soon as they get a sniff of anything, it's like they think it's the truth. You know.
Absolutely.
And I know, obviously, we were talking about Will Smith and all that, and we saw it happen. But I'm just saying, in general, if it's
Yeah.
something, whatever, people are just quick to believe it,
Yeah, and all the media might be the reason why Will Smith did what he did. Like he's there's a lot of pressure on these guys. I'm sure there are, and like the Will Smith that I grew up with and knew, like he was the most calm, collected, laid back dude. Like, there's been a numerous number, which I'm sure this, numerous number of hip hop artists that have taken shots at him over the years.
hmm
And let's be real about it, man. I mean, Will Smith wasn't exactly like your mainstream, hip hop guy's choice. But at the same time, man, if you listen to his work, he's lyrically talented,
Yeah,
and he could have and had every right to come back at all those guys, but he never did.
right.
Always played it cool, always played it safe. He was always the nice guy. And there's only one song that I could think of that he actually made a song called Mr. Nice Guy. And he actually came out, and said something bad about Eminem, and he said something bad about the media who were talking bad about him. It was like his rebuttal to some of those guys. But
Yeah,
otherwise, I think that's what shocked everybody the most is, Will Smith is this clean cut, straight arrow. And then, you know, he's up here smacking the hell out of comedians for
yeah,
talking about G.I. Jane. You know what
yeah,
I'm saying?
yeah. It would
So,
be like finding out Will Ferrell is a murderer or something. It's just like, whoa, really?
yeah,
Like, oh my
exactly, man.
God, what the
I mean,
hell?
there's shocks in the media, like whenever all that crap happened to Bill Cosby, I was like, come on, dude, Bill
Yeah, Bill
Cosby,
Cosby.
like
Yeah,
that's
yeah,
America's dad, dude. I,
right.
mean, I loved that dude growing up,
Yeah,
man. I
yeah.
used to watch the Cosby Show, wishing that my family was like that. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like it was the dream family,
Yeah, then he
and
became an icon in a whole different direction.
exactly, yeah, it's, totally different. So you never know, man.
Yeah,
It's crazy.
yeah, that's cool.
So
Yeah, I guess I'll plug in the intro. This is episode 3 of Boozin and B S'in. I got a special guest, the creator, I guess, of me. So, partial contributor to the channel by proxy. Um, you know, I don't know if you want to do any types of introduction, but
no, hey man, thanks for including me in this venture of yours. I've always, obviously, since you were a little bitty guy, been a big fan of anything that you want to do, and a supporter, and by all means, whatever it takes to succeed, I want to see you do that. So, just by sitting here talking to you for a little bit, catching up, in a different way than we normally do, as far as like text messaging or
yeah,
on the phone, hey man, I'm all about it. Sit here and have a couple little drinks with you.
Yep.
I love it.
For sure. So I guess first topic is something that we always talk about. You know, that's kind of what our conversations usually go. You know, well, not really always, but a lot of the times it's about music. You know, I'll send you a screenshot of what I'm listening to, and you'll do the same thing. Whatever, you know, just that's it. It's just a screenshot, and then double tap heart, like classic, and then you know, next day same thing. So, and I always tell you that, well, you and Raymond and you know, just everybody really, Morgan, Christy, Mom, all those people I grew up with, are you are obviously the number one influence in my music taste now. I mean, my music library shows for it. I mean, there's literally not everything, but there's a huge plethora. There's a huge time. What do they call it? The spectrum. There's like different ends of the spectrum
Yeah,
of music.
yeah,
But the main thing we talk about is hip hop, just because I mean that's kind of
yeah. So like, you know, I mean, to that point, I mean, you know, and honestly, it started way before you with me. Like, I've been a music fan my entire life, like as far back as I can remember. You know, like the one thing that I wanted for Christmas was that you know, portable boombox with a dual tape deck back in the day. You know what I'm saying? Like,
mhm,
you know, and then, you know, I would just sit for hours listening to the radio and taking those cassette tapes and like putting tape over the little holes so that you can record over them.
mm,
And I would steal like my mom's old, like, you know, country music or like Elvis Presley cassette tapes and record over them and wait for hours for a you know, the top 40 station to play the song I wanted to hear and record it. You know, then take it to school and you know, kind of rock out and, you know, before or after school in the little playground areas with, you know, all of this like static and noise, and you catch like half of a commercial in there from the
yeah,
radio, and it was just classic, dude. And like, it was my escape. It was my getaway. It was, I've always been a fan of music because it's kind of non-committal. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah,
you could pick up like, like, you know, hip hop in specific, you know, being specific, you can go down to, you know, like the first, you know, really big commercial artist there was, like the Sugar Hill Gang, and, you know, talking about, you know, the Rapper's Delight song, you know, the first one to ever make the top 40. And, you know, you could put that on today, or you could put on, you know, skip over to the you know, late 80s, early 90s to your Ice-T, you know, who I personally attribute to, you know, the invention of more of your inner city gangster rap. You know, then following him, you know, with NWA and others, you know, and which branched out into like Tupac and Biggie and you also can't forget about, you know, your you know, your fun stuff, you know what I'm saying, like MC Hammer. And
yeah,
so you can literally go to any time frame in this genre and pull out a cassette tape or a CD or digital download and enjoy yourself.
yeah,
And it's not like watching a TV show or anything like that where, well, what came first or what's going to come next, or, you know, that kind of thing. It's just
right,
kind of escaping into that world and relaxing and just chilling. And music has been a big part of that. It's helped me cope through hard times, and it's, you know, been there for good times, and it's always been a method of psychiatry, I guess you could say.
yeah,
And
yeah. I agree.
yeah,
Yeah,
man.
I feel that for sure. I definitely feel
And
that.
then, you know, you growing up, I never was one to, I mean, call it wrong, call it right. I don't give a shit what you call it, but I was never one to like censor it and like, I can't play this around my kid. I can't do this or that.
Yeah,
So my music was our music whenever you were growing up, man. I just
yeah,
put it on the car, you know. I was in the pickup line picking you up from first grade or whatever, and I was rocking out, dude. I
yeah,
mean, you know, you grew up around that stuff. I
yeah,
mean,
yeah. And I
and
totally thank you for that. That's for sure. Totally.
yeah.
Yeah, because
So
I just remember being in like kindergarten, first grade, listening to Marshall Mathers LP. I mean, what 5-year-old is listening to shit like that?
classic, man. I
Yeah,
mean, you know, I don't. I mean, it's art, it's poetry, it's a way to express yourself, and I mean, you know, I think I think as a result, it was unlike what a lot of people would think, it didn't negatively affect you, man. I mean,
Yeah,
you turned out great.
yeah,
So,
yeah. That
I mean,
whole whatever you want to call, they say. I mean, Eminem is one of the best artists to explain the whole blaming him for whatever their kids are doing. You know, I mean, he says it himself. So it's just really stupid to kind of pinpoint somebody listening to music being a school shooter or something. Like that's ridiculous.
yeah, it's crazy. I mean, and that goes back, right? I mean, they've blamed music on bullshit like that for years. Like, I remember when, back in the day when, rock artists like Ozzy Osbourne, came out with that song Suicide Solutions, and it was blamed for a couple of kids committing suicide. And, the song is about him and alcoholism, dude. It has nothing to do with any kind of
Yeah,
mental disorders.
they just look at the name
Yeah, exactly, right. So
and who
it's
he
it's
is.
it, yeah, yeah. And then, in hip hop, how much flack that Dr. Dre and Eazy and all of NWA got before, you know, they got blamed for inner city violence when they were actually just relaying what they saw on a daily
Yeah,
basis.
exactly. Just in music form.
Yeah, it's what does Eminem say? Music is reflection of self. I mean, that's all it is.
Yeah,
And that's what it is. They take what's inside them, put it on paper, make it rhyme just a little bit, put it over a simple beat, and that's just chill out.
yeah, yeah. And it's crazy. It's crazy because on my last episode, I was talking with my friend Jordan and Malachi. I was talking about how like my generation is kind of stuck in between three different eras of rap. Because growing up, I mean, I was born in '97, so I was listening to music from '97 kind of prior to, and then up until about 2005, whatever, that era. I mean, there's a lot of artists in there, and then you go from
Mm-hmm.
there to now, and then I mean, it's crazy to think of just how many eras I've gone through. Not, I mean, you too. Obviously, you've
Yeah,
seen a
right.
lot more, but it's just, I mean, I know you are more kind of up to date a little. You know what I'm saying? Like, and you're willing to listen. If I send you somebody new, you'll listen, whatever. But 9 times out of 10, and we've talked about this before. I don't really know what the cause is, but there's a lot of we call them old heads, and a lot of the old
Yeah,
heads they don't they're so stuck I feel like they're stuck in their ways. And I mean, they might not be, whatever, I don't know, but it's just crazy. I mean, I don't know, it's just
no, and I get it, man, and I think that and I got to be honest with you. I find myself doing more. Like if you look at what I listen to on a daily basis, it's typically like a mix that I have either Spotify or Amazon Prime put together for me, and it's typically like 80s hip hop or 90s hip hop, right, or early 2000s hip hop. That's typically my go-to, like chill, put in my earphones and do work every day. But as far as the new stuff, man, I have to at minimum empathize with what your generation, the younger, even after you, man, like these kids out here that are, 13, 12, 13, 14, 15 years old listening to this stuff. I might not necessarily relate to some of the stuff out there.
yeah,
There are some cool ass artists, don't get me wrong. There's some really genuine lyricists. And as you know, I've expressed this to you. I think that hip hop, it's necessary to be a lyricist. Like you
hmm,
have to know lyrics
for sure.
and you have to be able to tell a story. Even if you got a song that doesn't necessarily tell a story, you have to be able to at least identify a few tracks on your album that are good storytelling tracks. And like I was talking to you the other day, I was like, man, in the last like 2 or 3 years, name a good album, like from start to finish, like all of it just fucking killer tracks. You know what I'm saying? Like, think about Tupac, All Eyes on Me, right? Or the Marshall Mathers LP, right? Or, I mean, shit, DMX, his first album. I mean, just all killer shit. And then, like, you can't, it's hard, dude. It's hard to identify, because but I realize it's a different genre. It's not a different genre, it's a different era.
Yeah.
And now it's an era of digital downloads. You don't necessarily need that album or that whole CD.
Yeah.
And like, I gotta respect it, because I was also given hate growing up for some of my choices. And I remember how that was. And the adults around me didn't understand it. They couldn't relate to what I was listening to. So I have to go into the situation with an open mind and be like, yeah, man, yeah, I'll listen to, Joyner Lucas, or, I don't know, anybody that's out new right now. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And they got some good stuff. And, I have to respect it, if nothing else.
Yeah.
So I'm not gonna be the one to badmouth the new stuff, because I know what it was like to be badmouthed when I was young.
Yeah, and one thing that I think about that's kind of exploded over the last how many ever years, like you said, the digital stuff, and just the different avenues that people have nowadays. It's unlimited. You can really plug your stuff anywhere and make music off of an iPhone. So I think when it comes to the older people who kind of have an issue with this rap now is whatever, it's just like you really have to find stuff, and that's kind of my argument, especially nowadays, just because the radio doesn't exist anymore. If you go to the radio looking for music, that's your number one problem. You need to stop doing that, because the radio is dead. So you have to stream stuff now. You can go get CDs, because some artists still do sell CDs. But if you really want to find stuff and if you want to listen to new stuff, which I support, I think you really should, because you can go in my library right now, and I guarantee you'll find a hip hop artist that you will enjoy. I 100% guarantee that. You just have to find stuff, and it's kind of like, this is what I compare it to. I compare it to people who say that Michael Jordan is the greatest player ever, and there will never be another Michael Jordan, and nobody will ever top Michael Jordan. It's just like, you can but it's good. It's happened. Kobe got close to him. LeBron's close to him. It's just like one of those arguments. But I think rap is just so different, because I always explain rap as a tree, and it's just the different branches. And rap has so many different branches, and you could kind of just pick whatever branch you want. There's so many different types of rap, and there's so many different artists from different genres, and it's crazy. It's unlimited, the amount of artists that you can find that are worth something. It's just, you really have to find them. But on your part, relating to them and all that, I get that. I do. I get that.
Yeah, and the different subgenres inside of hip hop is probably the reason why I can not, I can go through and not get bored of the genre, right?
Yeah.
I also listen to rock, and I listen to other stuff as well, but I come in periods where I don't really want to listen to it for a while.
Yeah.
And I think that there was eras during rock music, for example, especially like the early 90s, that it kind of sucked, dude. I didn't really like it too much at the time. So, but honestly, throughout the years, there's been some sort of subgenre that I was in the mood to listen to with hip hop. If I was a little bit more aggressive life, aggressive day, or wanted to hit the gym real hard or something like that, throw on some Onyx, dude. Who can't, just thinking about Onyx and that album, Back to Fuck Up, is like, you just want to curl your lip and just be mad at something. You know what I'm saying? And then, you got, you're more, playful and dancey, pop hip hop kind of thing, and so like, or you got your just like vibing, like I think that, for example, this one artist is probably one of my favorite artists of all time. I think that he's underrated in the sense that he's usually not mentioned with the greats, but at the same time, he did get a lot of play and people know it. Scarface.
Hmm.
I've always thought that Scarface was one of the best hip hop artists of all time.
Yeah, every time I listen to that album, I send it to you.
Yeah, the Diary is the one you're talking about, and that the Diary is, by all accounts, probably one of the top 5 hip hop albums of all time.
Yeah, I mean,
it's solid all the way through, man. There's not a bad track on it. The lyrics are just absolutely unmatchable. I mean, his whole demeanor and his attitude behind you, you can tell when he was in that studio, he really meant what he was saying into that microphone.
mm-hmm.
And like, but I was a fan of his even before he went solo. I was a fan of Ghetto Boys, and you know what I'm saying, like Bushwick Bill, and all of those guys. And whenever those guys come out, you had the more like groups, if you will, like 4 or 5 dudes that are in the, think Wu-Tang Clan, but think a little bit more, group solid, like like the Ghetto Boys or Public Enemy, dude. I mean, Public Enemy back in the day, bring the noise. I mean, shit. Come on, dude.
Yeah.
I mean, Flavor Flav, I had the pleasure of meeting him when I lived in Las Vegas, and that dude don't stop, man. In real life, I mean, you say his name, like I saw him at a convenience store, man. I said his name, he turned around and did the whole Flavor Flav. I mean, it's right there in front of everybody, dude. It's like, these guys are genuine.
Yeah.
They love what they do. They mean what they say, and then you can't forget the pioneers, or the poets, I call them. The poets would be like Tupac Shakur.
For sure.
Or like,
Top of the list.
Notorious Big. I mean, literally, dude, you could take some of Tupac or Notorious, B.I.G.'s albums and like take their songs and just write them in a book and read them as poetry.
Yeah.
And it's real. Yeah. Like, I mean, and people try to argue, like Pac was like, he wasn't really a gangster and he wasn't this or he wasn't that. And like, he was just, I don't give a shit, dude. In actuality, all I know is I'm listening to what he's saying, and I feel it. I feel it inside him.
I think that's what makes him gangster, though, is because he's real.
Yeah, right. Yeah. You don't have to gang bang to be a gangster. I agree with that. I mean, he was real. What he said came from his heart.
Yeah.
I mean, you can't listen to a song like, Brenda Had a Baby, or Dear Mama, and not think that this dude is legit. You just can't do it.
So Many Tears. That song. That's one of my favorites.
So Many Tears. My God. And you talk about a banger, dude. You put a couple 12s in your trunk.
Yeah.
Man, that'll make your rearview mirror pop off. I'm telling you right now.
Yeah,
that's the stuff.
Yeah, it's really crazy because to think about. So would you put him on your top 5? I guess if you had to do like a
Tupac, absolutely. Yeah. So Scarface, I would. Tupac, I would. I'd probably throw Nas on there. Nas is
he's insane.
Just so fluid, dude.
He's still rapping now. I didn't know if you knew that.
I got his new album. And actually he's getting ready to drop another one, I believe. Like back to back.
Yeah.
Consistent. Let's see, Nas, Tupac, Big. You know what? I mean, it might be controversial, but if Biggie is on there, Biggie would be like real close to not being on there.
Yeah.
If I'm talking top 5.
Yeah.
I love Biggie. Don't get me wrong, but it's just Biggie. Whenever he signed with Bad Boy, like Puff Daddy was more of like a poppy type hip hop, right?
Yeah.
And when he started, getting producers to come in for Biggie was more like, like Hypnotize, and like he's the guy that, which is cool, don't get me wrong, but he was the guy rapping about fast cars and big TVs and hanging out on yachts and You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
Like,
yeah,
you know, that was his thing,
yeah,
which is cool. You know, I respect that, but at the same time, it like you can only have so much substance in that.
for sure. Yeah, you can only say so
Now,
much.
yeah, I mean, you can listen to his albums, and the reason why he would still make it to at least maybe my top 5 or 6, maybe, would be that if you listen to his albums on the less popular tracks, he's deep.
Oh,
I mean,
for
like
sure.
he does get deep.
Yeah, yeah,
But you got to be a music fan to understand that.
yeah.
Your average, you know,
They just know Hypnotize
uh,
and Big Papa.
yeah,
Yeah,
your average Kimberly
Gypsy.
from South Dakota,
Yeah,
she only knows Hypnotize. You
yeah.
know what I'm saying? So
And she only
if
knows
she didn't,
Biggie, Biggie, Biggie. Can't you
yeah,
see? That's all she knows.
yeah,
Yeah,
which isn't Biggie,
yeah.
right? That's Puff Daddy. I mean,
Right.
straight up, that's Puffy right there.
Yeah.
And I respect
And
it,
they
but
don't know. They don't know suicidal thoughts. You know.
that's right.
Yeah.
You know, they know that, and they know like Mace's greatest hits. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You remember Mace? I mean,
I mean,
you know
yeah,
that
vaguely. Yeah, I know who he is, but
dude. Yeah, that was a train wreck right there. I mean, he was cool, but
is that the guy that wore the pink,
dude, he wore like I
the
think
leather?
he's
Like,
it,
not the leather, the
yeah, like
fur.
that shiny leather.
Oh,
Oh,
okay. I'm thinking about
so
Cameron. Sorry, I'm thinking about Cameron. My bad. My
oh
bad.
no. Yeah, I know you're talking about
My
too,
bad.
but yeah, Mace was like actually he left Bad Boy Records and became a pastor.
Hmm.
Yeah. Like he turned his life around or some shit. I don't know, but like he was like known as like the ladies' man,
Hmm.
and like you know he came out with like one good album, like and it sold a lot of money. It sold a lot, but you know all he really rapped about was women,
Hmm.
which that was his thing, man. You know he made his money or whatever, but
Yeah. Can't be mad at him.
yeah, like his real name in real life was Mason. And like you know, then you can go on YouTube and search up Pastor Mason, and you can see some of his like you know it's
That's
it's wild,
That's a wild turnaround right there.
huge, yeah. So, but you know, I mean, yeah, I would probably have to. I mean, if I'm completely honest with myself, I'd have to put Eminem in my top 5 as well.
Yeah.
Like I said, he's a lyricist, dude. I mean, there's things that he says. It's like
Yeah.
how does he come up with these words?
Yeah. He's
You know
still
what I'm saying?
he's kind of still doing that whole like what like what is that? How did you even do
Yeah.
that? That doesn't
Like
even
he
make sense.
relates stuff. Like he says one word, and by the end of the sentence, that one word means something different.
Yeah.
And it's like it's mind blowing some of the lyrical stuff that he can pull on you. And
Yeah. Yeah. It's kind of annoying and frustrating to me. Like some of the people my age, the people that are rap fans, but they're more. I don't really know how to explain them when they as like rap fans because you know the artists now they'll listen to like Lil Baby, Lil Durk, you know all those artists, 21 Savage, all them. So when it comes to the artists before them that kind of paved the way for the artists now is Eminem gets really disrespected. I don't know if it's because they think some of his content is whack or whatever, or he's white, or he's old, or whatever. I'm just gonna say, since he's been rapping to now, I mean he will probably obliterate anybody that's mainstream or anybody really. I mean he'll obliterate
I
anybody.
agree. And if you're talking about your classic, which I love a good battle rap, man. I mean, I think that's you know, back in the day in the 80s, that's what it was about was, you know, gathering on a street corner in the corner, you know, somewhere in Queens, New York, and, you know, playing a beat on a boombox and two guys going at it as, you know, they're buddies, but they're battle rapping, right? And I think that Eminem kind of has a lock on that. There's not many people that can, you know, fuck with him lyrically in a battle rap. Now, one that I would love to see, and I don't think that it would ever happen because Eminem has way too much respect for the man. I would love to see LL Cool J and Eminem do a battle. Because I swear to God, dude, LL Cool J is if you've listened to some of his battle tracks, his diss tracks, he is fire. I mean, like, he had the whole beef with cannabis for a long time, and it all started
Cannabis.
over that. Yeah, and it all started over that stupid tattoo that they both have on their upper arm of a microphone.
Mm.
And then actually, whenever the Biggie Smalls and Tupac beef was going on, you never heard much from any East Coast artist responding to Tupac. Like there was a couple of subliminal things that if you knew what they were talking about, you knew that they were talking about Pac. But at the same time, they never come out like Pac did. Fuck, Pac put out "Hit 'Em Up," and he just obliterated. He killed their kids, everything in that song, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but like, and then LL Cool J, a less known song. He come out with a song that featured a couple of like Fat Joe and like I think Foxy Brown was on it and a couple of other dudes, and it was called "I Shot You," and it was a direct blow at Tupac at the time. And basically, he was like, he didn't even mention Tupac's name, and he was like, "Next time, I'm gonna call you out in person." And like, just listen to the lyrics. I'm like, damn, LL Cool J came out hard against Tupac, and it came out at a time that Pac could have responded to LL, but Pac didn't. He didn't respond to it at all. Pac come out at Mobb Deep. He come out at Biggie Smalls and Bad Boy Entertainment, and all those guys.
Yeah.
LL Cool J wasn't even part of Bad Boy. He's always been Def Jam. So,
Yeah.
I would love to see a friendly battle between LL Cool J and Eminem.
Yeah.
I don't think M would do it because M respects him too much. He loves him. He's one of his greats. But that would be fun. That would be a lot of fun.
Yeah. See, and and to add on to what I said, it's frustrating because you can kind of go on YouTube and whatever, and you'll find some of the OG rappers kind of just giving respect to Eminem, basically like, I don't know if you ever seen that video of Lil
Oh
Wayne.
yeah.
Somebody was given a list of like top rappers, and they were talking to Lil Wayne, and they said Jay-Z.
And the fact that Eminem wasn't on there.
Yeah, he said Gucci who? Gucci Mane? Yeah. Yeah, so it's for me, I love seeing the rappers that obviously I listen to as well give props to Eminem just because.
Yeah.
I mean.
Yeah, I've heard many interviews with like Snoop Dogg. I remember an interview I saw with Snoop. He said that you'll never see on a regular basis. I mean, it might change now, but he said that he's never made a track with Eminem. Because anytime you make a track with Eminem, that's now Eminem's song.
Yeah.
Like he gave an example. Like, I know Eminem and Jay-Z have a lot of love for each other,
Renegade.
but Eminem did that track with Jay-Z.
Yeah.
And like, Snoop even said in that interview, is like Eminem killed fucking Jay-Z in it. Like, he didn't like diss him or nothing. But he came like 10 times harder.
Yeah.
And that's what Eminem does. Like, he comes and he spits like these crazy lines, and it's like he takes the song away from you. And the only person that really does it on a consistent basis is okay with it, I guess because they're boys or whatever, is Lil Wayne.
Yeah.
And I mean, Lil Wayne in his own right is a lyrical genius.
Oh my God, Lil Wayne is ridiculous. Okay, here's
anybody.
This is the only example you need for Lil Wayne being a lyrical genius. Bitch, real G's move in silence like lasagna. I mean, that's just who thinks of that, man?
Nobody.
That is one of my favorite rap lines ever.
Yeah.
What?
No, and anybody that can stand in a booth and just flow an entire song off the top of their head, you got to understand though, man. I mean, the dude grew up in a studio.
Yeah.
I mean, I was watching a thing with Birdman, and Birdman was like, I got to get this kid off. Talking about Lil Wayne, he's like, I got to get this kid off the street and set him right. And then they started this Cash Money thing, and they were like, Lil Wayne lived in the studio. It's like, all right, dude, you want to go out and hang out with your buddies? I'm gonna bring your buddies here. So like if you listen to Cash Money, you know, like all of their old albums, like every song had like 4 artists on it. And like they would just seriously get in the studio and make like 25, 35 songs with 4 or 5 artists on each song. And then they would say, all right, dude, you take these 5 songs or 8 songs, you take these 10, and you take these 12, and we got 3 albums. Silk the Shocker, you can have this album. Lil Wayne, you can have this album. And you know what I'm saying? Like, that's what they did.
Mm-hmm.
And like, if he wanted to hang out with his boys, it was in the studio. If he wanted, you know, whatever he wanted, he grew up in the studio. And that's very evident behind his professionalism and how he views the world, and the world of hip hop, that is.
Yeah.
And like, he's absolutely comfortable going toe to toe in a song with Eminem.
Yeah.
And I respect that about him.
Yeah, I think I actually saw an interview of Lil Wayne talking about Eminem, and he was basically saying like every time him and Eminem would get on a track, it was obviously all love, but it was like he called it a championship fight. You know.
Dude, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's like going to the gym with one of your buddies. You always work out harder, man.
Mm-hmm.
Your friend, if they're equally matched to you, can bring the best out in you.
Yeah.
And like, you know what I'm saying? Like, you know, if it was LeBron and Kobe court together, and they were just going back and forth at each other playing a game of 31 pickup or a game of horse, you're going to see some impressive shit come out of those guys.
Right.
Because they're both badasses, and they can push each other to the limits.
Yeah, for sure.
And you know, and I'm sure that's the philosophy that these two have whenever they get in the booth with each other.
Yep.
It's just absolutely insane.
Yeah. Yeah, the hip hop is it's crazy.
Yeah.
It's crazy. I don't know if who I would really put on my top 5. It's just, I think, I mean, Tupac, of course, Eminem, of course. From where I'm a little bit younger, I would put J. Cole up there, just because.
I like J. Cole. I respect that guy.
Yeah,
absolutely.
He is definitely this generation's Pac, or whoever you want to call him. I mean, he's like, when it comes to realism and lyricist and just all of that, he's the best. And I would probably put Kendrick on that list, just because Kendrick is right behind him with the realism and the lyrics and production and all of that. I mean, his one album, I don't know if you ever listened to it, To Pimp a Butterfly and Good Kid, Mad City. I mean, those albums are insane. So, yeah, I'd probably, you know, Tupac, Eminem, J. Cole, Kendrick, and maybe Nas. I'd probably put Nas up there too. I think I'd put Nas up there.
Yeah, like I mean, I'm right there with your choices. I mean, obviously I'm swayed more toward the older guys, just because I'm an older guy. But you know, I mean, J. Cole, Kendrick Lamar. Much respect to those guys. It's I think they do a good job with the newer hip hop. You do got some. I mean, you got to admit, there's some, which there was in my day too. But there's some new hip hop that's like, damn man, why are you doing this?
Yeah, it's a lot of cornballs nowadays, and I mean, I'll gladly say that they're cornballs, because I just think now it's just, well, I mean.
Like some of those guys, dude, like who relates to it, right? Like, I mean, how can you relate to some of this stuff? And, you know, like, I don't know. I mean, you know, to each his own, dude. I mean, like, you know, I
don't really know who the audience is for some of these artists, but, you know, I just kind of leave it alone, because, I mean, if they're going to keep making music, I mean, they're just going to keep making music.
My thought is that some of these guys, their basic fan base are like a couple 100,000 11-year-olds that just listen to it because their parents hate it.
Yeah.
You feel me? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, was that line in Eminem's song where he says a parent's worst nightmare is a kid with dyed hair and who likes earrings?
Yeah. Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
Walking around with his headphones blaring,
Yep.
alone in his own zone, cold, and he
Yeah.
don't care.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So yeah, it's that 11-year-old that's
Yep.
rebelling against his parents and listening to Takashi 6ix9ine or some shit. You know
Yeah.
what I mean?
Yeah.
I don't understand it. I don't
Yeah.
understand it. I mean, to
Yeah.
each his own. I love you. Do your thing, man. I hope you make money. But at
Yeah.
the same time, I don't understand it myself.
Yeah. I
Maybe I'm
don't.
just too old.
I mean, I'm kind of right there with you, especially with a lot of those artists. And one of the recent things I've been seeing is on TikTok. You know, you'll see those stupid random lives of just random stuff. For some reason, it has a feeling that in my algorithm, I want to see these 17-year-old losers in their mom's basement recording stupid auto-tune songs, and people in the comments are like, "Oh my god, bro, that's so fire," and it's not. It's not. It's not.
Yeah,
It's
stop encouraging.
trash. Stop.
Yeah,
It's
no, I
so
get it, man.
bad.
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
I kind of get how the older people feel a little bit, especially when I hear stuff like that. I get it. I get it. I'm getting older. I get it.
Yeah,
Totally understand it.
yeah, yeah. It's
I
hard. It's
totally get
hard
it.
sometimes, man. I mean, with all of my power and all of my might, I want to be like, dude, do your thing. I support you. I love you. And then, but in the back of my mind, I'm like, God damn, man,
Yeah.
I just don't get it, man. I
Yeah.
just don't get it.
Yeah. I just leave it alone because I mean I can't change it anyway. I just whatever. I just do and listen to what I'm listening to and whatever whatever. Because
Yep.
like you said, to each his own.
That's it. That's all you can do, man. I mean, and I guess that's the beauty of music, right? I mean, there's a little bit of something for everybody out there,
Yeah,
and
for sure.
we can at least all come together and agree that at the end of the day, we can find something on Spotify or Amazon Prime that we can just groove to and kind of live together in this crazy political drama-filled world of
Yeah,
ours.
yeah.
So,
'Cause
and if it means that you need to be soothed by somebody that I don't agree with, man, soothe away. Do whatever
yeah,
you need to do.
for sure. Yep, for sure.
So,
Because everybody's got their own whatever. Everybody's got their own problems. Everybody's got their own ways to solve those problems, escapes, vices, interests,
yep,
hobbies, all that shit. And I think a lot of people forget that. And I think a lot of people put too much pressure on what's like societally correct. I don't know if societally is a word. I just made it up, but you get what I'm saying. Like what's accepted
yeah,
and what's looked at is like this is what you should be doing. No, fuck that. Just do whatever
hmm
you want to do. If I don't like it, who cares? Just keep doing it. But guess what? I'm gonna
yeah,
still tell you that it's trash. But does that
yeah,
mean you're gonna stop listening to it? No. It's the same way that if you're telling me my music is trash, I don't really care. You know,
yeah,
you can think
yeah.
that.
And I think that's how everybody should view most things in life, not just music. Is like, I might not agree with you, man. I'm not going to agree with you on everything, but I love you
Yeah,
anyway. I mean, it is what it is. You believe what you want to believe. I'm going to believe what I want to believe at the end of the day, and
yeah,
we'll go home happy people.
right,
And like, and I encourage you. I encourage you to keep believing the way that you want to believe. Keep liking the music that you want to like, and do what you want to do that makes you happy.
right.
It doesn't matter at the end of the day. And, at the end of the day, just be a nice person, dude.
Yeah,
Just be
I'm about to
nice.
say, as long as you're not disrespecting and doing something that's
That's it.
blatantly, you know,
Yeah.
obviously we know the lines, you know.
Right. Yeah, exactly. I mean, you respect others, and respect their decisions. And I mean, that's a big portion of it. I mean, I think a lot of people get a lot of hate for no reason because they don't agree with the way that someone else thinks.
Yeah,
And that's wrong.
yeah,
And like, you don't have to think like I think from you to get my respect. And, I respect you regardless of your thought process.
right.
So,
Yeah, yeah, that's how I feel. I mean, you know, like I said, everybody kind of knows the limits, and you kind of know. It's kind of vague, us saying this stuff, but it's kind of like if you're having a conversation about X and Z, you kind of know what the limit is of what you can and cannot say. So if it gets to that point, obviously you're wrong. You know what I mean? But if it's
yeah,
just
yeah.
talking about X, Y, Z, and you're like, well, I think I mean, maybe it could have been like this or whatever. As long as it's respectful, it's your opinion,
Yeah,
and
that's it, man.
whatever it is. And I just think people just kind of let it get away from them. And I think social media has a huge issue or
Huge.
a
I
huge
agree.
impact on it because
Yeah.
people can kind of talk behind the screen and say what they want, and there not be any repercussions for it. So I really feel like that's kind of where the biggest, that's kind of what sparked it. You know what I mean? People have always
Yeah.
been disrespectful, but I just think with that, people have grown bigger cojones. You know what I mean?
hmm Yeah, and I think that a lot of people like to say that the younger generations are more of, I don't know what they how they want to say it, like they're more sensitive, they're more of a snowflake or whatever you want to say. I don't know how you want to say it, but I don't think that's necessarily the case, man. I think that given the information, I think that my generation, by all accounts, was one of the most like rude ass generations there were, dude. I mean, if you talk about roasting people and like doing it for fun, just you've been there. You've been
Yeah.
there on Thanksgiving. You've been there, man. We will sit as siblings and just fuck each other up, dude. And in love, you know what I'm
Yeah,
saying? I mean,
for
that's what
real.
we do, man.
Yeah,
It's how I was raised, and
yeah,
like it was prevalent in schools. It was prevalent in church. It was prevalent everywhere you go. And I think if anything, starting in your generation and on, you guys are a lot more sensitive to that stuff and do it a lot less.
yeah,
So I think that the reason why it appears that the younger generations are more sensitive isn't because that they are, it's because they get attacked more social media, more platforms to come at you constantly.
yeah,
Like, when I was a kid, we'd go to school and we were roast our buddies and we'd come home and we'd have time off. I
yeah,
didn't have a phone. I didn't have a cell phone. I didn't have nothing, dude. So I'd
yeah,
come home and I just relaxed, right? Watch cartoons after school.
yeah. It didn't even matter.
But but now these kids are like faced with it at school, and then they come home and they're being attacked online, and they're being attacked on their cell phone, and they're being attacked on Facebook and on Twitter and all this shit. I'd I'd break too, man. I mean,
Yeah,
you need a break. You
yeah,
need
for
to
sure.
walk away from it.
Yeah,
And like, it's not that they're more sensitive; it's just that they're attacked more. That's
yeah,
all it is.
yeah. Yeah, and it's crazy. Just kind of, I don't know if you want to call it generational gaps, but I mean, I think there is. I mean, I think every generation has those sensitive people, and this generation, my generation, does have sensitive people. But you're right. I mean, it's just it's a, like an overload type of thing,
Right.
and you do
Yeah,
kind of
you can't escape it. You can't
yeah,
escape it now.
yeah. But like I said, everybody's got their own way of kind of escaping that, whether it be a TV show or you know music, movies, video
Yeah.
games, whatever,
Yeah.
whatever it is. It's like it's a lot. It's a lot of different avenues
So did
nowadays.
you? So what about video games? You play?
Yeah,
You still play?
yeah. I still play. I mean,
Yeah.
I'm kind of in a weird place right now because I mean, video games are it's hard to. I can't really say they're not good because there's a lot of games out there, but I haven't tried any. So it's weird. I mean, I've always played sports games growing
I
up.
asked because I'm getting ready to get a PS5.
Oh, okay. I thought about
Yeah.
getting a PS5. They've got so when it comes to like exclusive games, like exclusively for PlayStation, exclusively for Xbox, PlayStation has Xbox blown out the water. I mean, it's been like that for years. Like,
So I had a buddy at work, man. He had a bundle pack that he got, and he was selling it, like unopened, unused, whatever. He won it as part of a lottery from this website thing that he entered or whatever. And it was like a Legend of Zelda bundle pack or whatever.
hmm,
So like came with a couple of Zelda games, but it also came with like two controllers and a charging tower and all this stuff. And but it was like a grand, like $1,000, and that was what he paid for it. He showed me the invoice, and I was like, yeah, I know. But I reached out to him actually like yesterday, and I was like, dude, you still got that? And he was like, no, I actually sold it like 2 days ago. And then he told me, he was like, hey, but old dude over there in the other department. And I was like, yeah, I know him, this dude I worked with. And he was like, dude, he's already sold like over 200 PlayStation 5s.
He's probably made a.
And I was like, really? Okay. And the dude that he happens to talk about literally lives a block away from me. So I like send him an instant message on the laptop, and I'm like, hey man, I heard you can do this. And he's like, yeah, I got one coming to my house tomorrow. And typically what he's been doing since like the beginning of the pandemic is like he'll track like Walmart and Target and GameStop and all of these places that get like these pallets. And they'll get 30, 50, 75 PS5s at once. And as soon as they do, he'll put them in his cart online and buy like 5. And like then he'll resell them. And he's been reselling them. He's been paying like the $4.99 for them, $5.50 with shipping, and then turning around and selling them for $700.
I hate resellers, man.
I know.
Nerves, man.
I know, but hey, listen, dude.
I mean, get your money.
The one that I'm buying from him, he said that is like number 253 that he has sold. And he's selling it to me for what he paid for it because, we work together and we're friends or whatever. So I'm just paying the $5.50.
Nice. Okay.
So,
yeah.
So, but yeah, he said it should be in literally like today or tomorrow. It should be here. So I should be getting a PS5.
Hell
so,
yeah, that'd be nice. Shit.
Yeah.
And I think you can. I don't know if PlayStation does it where you can kind of play classic games. Xbox has this Game Pass, and they have all kinds of games from the 360 days. Like they have a couple of regular Xbox games on there. Like you can play all kinds of classic games on there. PlayStation might have that too.
Yeah. So Braxton and Kevin here have what are they called? Nintendo Switch. Yeah. And they got the classic Nintendo games. So all the old Marios and all the old all that stuff. They got all that stuff, man.
Yeah, the Switch is amazing. The Switch is. Yeah. If the Switch would have came out like 2010, the world's head their heads would have fucking exploded. Yeah. I mean the Switch is amazing. I love the Switch.
Yeah. I do too. I think it's pretty nice because you can also get they got Mortal Kombat, like the new Mortal Kombat and stuff. Those are really cool.
Those games
they've kept those games.
They've come a long way.
Yeah, they've come a long way, man. They have like weird stuff now, like not just fatality, but they got like brutality and friendshipality. Have you heard of that one? Friendshipality.
I heard of that.
Yeah. Like you end the fight in peace. It's weird as hell. But
I ain't never seen that. Yeah, Mortal Kombat. I mean, shit. If you go and load it up on a Super Nintendo and you load it up on an Xbox One, if you show an 80-year-old, they might die just because.
Exactly.
It's the same game, but it's a totally different game. Like it's so crazy. Visually, it's amazing. I mean, it's like a movie, man. It's
graphics are stupid now. Graphics are stupid.
That's crazy. Yeah, I bet you that's something that you can kind of look back on and you kind of think, wow, like we've really come this far. And there's generations before you that are probably, you know what I'm saying? Like it's just, I'm like that, with like cell phones, like these iPhones. I mean, they've come from the cell phones that we used to have back in 2003, 4. I mean, they've come so far. It's wild.
Dude, just look at the iPhone 1 compared to the new iPhone.
That's true.
Crazy.
I mean, that's
crazy difference.
They went from like this big.
Yeah.
And I mean, now it's like a tablet. It's.
I mean, honestly, dude, I like the small ones because, like, even mine, I have the 12, but it's a 12 mini.
Yeah.
So I chose to get the 12 mini. So mine, and even my mini is bigger than what the iPhone 1 was.
Yeah. It was like this wallet, but skinnier.
Yeah, it's tiny. Yeah.
Like this big. I know Raymond had an iPhone 5 for the longest time, and every time he would hold
probably
it.
does, man. He was like grandfathered into this AT&T plan. He pays like $3 a month or some shit. Like he only has like X amount of minutes or some shit. I don't even know, man. He's Like, I ain't paying no more for him, man. He's cheap as fuck.
He's a tease.
I love him, but
He trips me
he
out,
was
man.
he was grandfathered in.
Actually,
Like
he actually got a
they
new
tried to
phone.
give him new iPhones to get him out of that plan, but he won't do it.
He actually got a new phone. Actually,
Did he?
yeah, he
Yeah,
did.
that's nice. Okay,
Yeah,
okay.
I mean, I think he got like a. What did he get?
iPhone 7.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, it wasn't too much far after a five, but yeah,
Yeah,
that
can't
five
do
is
nothing but text and call on it. That's
yeah,
it.
that's it. Can't
Yeah,
even read an
the
email on it.
upgrades won't allow you to do nothing else.
Yeah,
Like
yeah,
his iPhone is on version 7.6, and
yeah.
mine's over here on like 15.9
Yeah,
or something.
he's a little bit behind. Yeah, if he tried to update it, the phone probably catch on fire. You know,
Yeah,
so
it doesn't make sense, man. I don't
yeah.
know what you're trying to ask me to do.
We've come a long way though. Cell phones probably didn't. Cell phones used to be like big boxes, like huge.
Dude, yeah, it was crazy. I mean, I remember like our first cell phones. Like, first of all, text messaging wasn't even a damn thing because like text messaging cost extra money, and then when you did it, there was no such thing as a QWERTY keyboard. So like, you know what I'm saying? Like
Mm-hmm.
for like an S, you had to hit like
Four times.
that same button like 4 times. You
Yeah.
know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
And then, oh man, if you want to get punctuation in there, you got to hit like 15, 16 times to get that exclamation point.
Yeah. Then you miss it, and you
And
got to redo it.
yeah, and it's just not worth it, man. It's like, fuck you, call me.
Yeah.
I,
Yeah.
I ain't texting you
Yeah. I'm
back.
not doing that no more.
Yeah. But I remember back in the day, man, I had a Nextel. Remember Nextel?
Yeah.
They had on the button on the side like push to talk,
Mm.
and they worked like a two-way radio. Like, and if you had a Nextel to Nextel and you both had push to talk, it was free.
Mm.
And then I remember some of the first plans came with minutes, and they also did like rollover. I think
Yeah.
that was like one of the first things that you
Yeah.
can roll over minutes.
Yeah. I remember them. Yep.
Yeah, and then um, they also had plans that if you called me, it was free.
Mm.
But if I called you, so what you do is you call somebody's landline and let it ring twice and hang up, and then they call you back. That was their cue to call you back,
Mm.
and then like the call was free. So like
Nice.
yeah. So yeah,
Y'all knew how to finesse the system back then.
hell yeah, man, yeah.
Yeah,
So
it's crazy because I do remember having a house phone at the house, and then uh, and I remember we used to have two. We used to have two house phones. You know, somebody would call and they would pick up the phone, and then you could go to the other house phone and you could pick it up and you could listen to the conversation.
yeah.
And you had to make sure you didn't breathe into the mic because they'd be like, "Who's on the phone?" You know? Yeah. Yeah, I remember
Oh,
that.
even better, man, even better. I know you didn't experience this, but when I was a kid, we had a thing called a party line. And like you get a discounted rate for this phone line that goes to your house. But the reason why you got it discounted is because you and like 3, 4 other houses share the same line. Like you don't even know these people. And like you go and say, "Hey, I'm gonna go call mom," or like I'm gonna call my boy, or whatever. You pick up the phone, and there might be somebody on there talking that's not even in your house.
Mm.
So then you gotta hang back up and wait, and then you open it. You pick it back up, and then sometimes you get pissed off. You're like, "Hey, get off the phone, man! I want to, my chance to use it or whatever."
Right.
But like, yeah, it's a party line. Like 2, 3, 4 households will share the same line.
Mm.
And like, that was a trip back then, man. And you just had to trust that it was marketed and sold as something like you need a phone in your house for emergencies. But then inevitably, at least 1 or 2 of those households had like this teenage girl that liked to stay on the phone all times a day, and like no one else could use the phone.
Yeah.
And you didn't know where they were. It's not like you can go to their house and knock on their door and be like, "Hey, dude, hang up the phone, man."
Right.
You didn't know who they were.
Right.
So that was a trip, man. That was something else.
They've come a long
I'm
way.
glad they got away from that.
Yeah. Yeah, but see the thing. Okay, here's the thing though. I'm still fascinated by the fact that you can like talk through a phone, and somebody can hear you on the other side, and talk back through it. I don't care what era it is of phones. I'm still fascinated by that fact.
Mm-hmm.
And then you throw on text messages. That blows my fucking mind. I mean, that's just crazy. That's
Yep.
just that's insane.
Yep, it was amazing. The first form of text messaging, at least to me, maybe I missed something different, but to me, the first form of text messaging is when you had a pager.
Yeah.
It was one of those fancy pagers you paid like $3 a month for the service, and like you gave a verbal message into the phone, hung it up, and then a pager would go off, and there's a little screen, and the words would come across my screen.
That's pretty impressive. I ain't gonna lie
Yeah,
to you.
yeah. So like, the technology was amazing back then. It was like, um, you know, I mean, typically, most pagers you saw were like literally the monthly fee on them to keep service was like $2 a month or some crazy. They were really cheap like that. And like, it's just one of those classic. A phone number comes up and you stop at a payphone and give it a call. I remember, man, whenever back in the day, whenever I first got into restaurant management, they would give us a pager as a manager, and the store could page you if they needed you.
Mm.
I mean, that's long gone. I got like two phones now because I got one for work, one for, and then it's all high tech now. But back then it was a pager. So,
That's crazy.
and now instead of shying away from it, I'm like, don't call me, man. Just text me.
Yeah.
Now it's all about text.
Yeah, for sure. Because it's quick,
And I think,
simple, easy.
yeah, and like, I think that turnaround happened whenever BlackBerry came out.
I remember you used to have that BlackBerry with the roller. I remember that phone.
Man, I'd still own BlackBerry if they had them. Love BlackBerries. The first one with the QWERTY keyboard, the first one that did all of that stuff, and like, I just think it was perfect.
Yeah.
And then, always came with the game Brick Breaker.
Brick Breaker. Yep.
Yeah, and like you sit there for hours playing Brick Breaker, but they BlackBerries were perfect. And then that's when text messaging got easy.
Yep.
And emails on the phone and stuff like that. BlackBerry pioneered that stuff, I think.
Yeah, those
and then
phones
here,
those phones
along
are so ahead of
comes
its time, man.
yeah, and then along comes iPhone and just wipes everybody clean. And now, really, the only thing there is iPhone and fucking Samsung. That's all there is.
And they're the same phone. They're the same thing.
Yeah, exactly.
It's just a different software. It's just a little different.
Yep, exactly. So
it ain't no competition. I mean, it's just a different name. That's literally all it is.
Yep.
Well, all it is Apple versus Android. That's really all it is.
That's it. Yeah, that's it. That's all. That's been the case since I remember when Android first come out, and I remember I had a phone that was Android, and it was one of those like you slide it sideways, and there was a QWERTY keyboard. You turn it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I don't even remember what that was called, but it was
Sidekick.
Maybe I don't remember, but I know they've tried to relaunch like all the old stuff, like the new Razors and
It's not the same.
All that stuff. It's not.
It's not the same.
Yeah, and I don't think anybody cares anymore, man. They're just like, give me the new iPhone or the new Samsung. We're good. Everybody's already picked their side.
Yeah,
we're good.
Yeah, it kind of sucks though because there'll be times where I want an old classic Razor phone or something. Like I miss that.
It's so much simpler. Like sometimes I just want to go to Walmart and buy one of those little prepaid flip guys.
That's how I am, man. I'm like, I don't
like disconnect from the world, dude. All I want to do is just call me if you need me. Otherwise, you know what I'm saying. You know where I'm at.
Yeah.
And like it's so much simpler times.
Yeah, there'd be times where I'd be wanting to disconnect too, and I'm fucking 25 years old. That's sad.
Yeah.
I can't
Shit, I'll be 46 this year, and I'm tired of talking to people.
I'm already like that. I want to buy a van and travel the world. That's right. That's kind of.
Dude, if I get this job, man, we're actually strongly considering. I don't know if I told you, but we're strongly considering doing the nomad thing, dude. Like selling the house, buying an RV, and just like go somewhere and stay there for like 3 weeks, and then go somewhere else. I mean,
I would love that so much.
Yeah, man. I mean, I got your 2 little brothers that are still in the house, but hell, Kevin will be gone in like 3 years to college, and then Braxton 2 years after that. So like Tina and I need to figure out what we're gonna do. You know what I'm
Shit.
saying?
Y'all got to
Like,
prepare for that second half of your life, man.
that's what I'm saying. Yeah, that's what we're
It's
trying to
crept
do.
up on you.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Like we're like, even at the stages that they're in now, like, your two little brothers are like 12 and 13 and 15 years old. So like they don't really need us anymore like they did.
Yeah.
So like, you know what I'm saying? Like
Yep.
they don't even like they get up in the morning and they make themselves breakfast.
Tina probably
That we
hates that.
homeschool. Oh, fucking hates it, dude. It's like she's like, what do I do now? You
Right.
know what I mean?
Yep.
Like already Blaine's gone, and like he's out doing his old Marine thing, and like the two little ones. I mean, Kevin, he's doing his own thing on he does the correspondence classes online, like the homeschool thing, and so does Braxton. And Braxton's getting good at it, so where he doesn't even need help with school anymore. So like, she just goes on once a week and makes sure they do their assignments. I mean, other than that, they just come to us and say, "Hey, I'm gonna cook some hot dogs and some macaroni and cheese for lunch. Y'all hungry?" They're like, you know what I'm saying? Like
Yeah.
that's all they need now.
But as parents,
So like,
that's what you go for, though, isn't it?
oh yeah, for sure. Yeah, yeah, yeah. So I mean, I think we're raising very good, productive members of society, and I'm proud of them, and I love the fact that they've matured the way that they have. But at the same time, dude, it's like now what?
Yeah.
Now what?
Yep.
So like, we Tina and I have to connect on another level now. So, we're considering the whole nomad thing and the whole doing something. I don't know, man. So,
That might be
but
nice for y'all, though.
yeah. I mean, we're lean. We like traveling anyway. I mean, that we've been all over the U.S. basically,
Yeah.
and we love it. So like, what better way to work? I mean, I got probably about 20 more years of work left in me, realistically. And like, what better way to do it is if I can get a completely 100% remote job
For sure.
and travel,
For
just
sure.
do whatever I want to do, live where I want to live.
Yeah.
And I don't know. We'll see.
That would be ideal for me because I think Kayla's dad is retired military and he's retired post office, and he's at that point now where he's just doing shit around the house. I mean, rebuilt the back. He put a jacuzzi in. I mean, he's doing shit like his carport. I mean, now he's just doing like side missions, like what I'm saying, just to kill the time. And I'm already at that point where I want to be at that. You know what I'm saying? I can't even.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, and I think that's where you're at now, and I would be excited for it.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, and I am honestly. I mean, we were on looking at different motorhomes and different like RVs today. Like, my truck, it still has a couple 100,000 miles left in it, and
It's
it's
a
paid
Toyota.
off.
That bitch will go forever.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So like, they last forever, and I don't have, I mean, it has a couple 100,000 miles left in it, and if we, sell this house, we can buy an RV just straight out with cash.
For sure.
So it's literally, dude, we'll be traveling with no bills
For sure.
other than buying gas and paying off credit cards every now and then. That's it, man. I mean, just love. That's
Good.
what do you want to do? You want to go to the Colorado Rockies? Shit, we're gonna spend a couple weeks there.
Be there in a couple days.
Yeah, you want to go to Miami? Fuck it, let's do it. Let's go.
Let's go buy a swim trunk. You know what I'm saying? Freshen up. Get some
That's
sunblock.
it. Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
You don't,
man.
you don't have to put it on top of your head no more because you got hair.
Yeah, I know, man. I grew some hair back. Yeah, I know. It's
been a
crazy.
while.
First time I've had hair in 16 years, but
yeah, that's the level you want to be at, though. That's the level you want to be
exactly.
at. You've made it. You've made it. You've made it.
Yeah, it's been a rough road, man. But for a guy who was a high school dropout, I'm pretty proud of myself.
Yeah, I mean that's all.
It's just hustle, man. It's just go out and do what you want to do and love what you do and always be that hardest worker in the room, even if you think the job sucks.
Yeah.
Just always do the best job that you can, and it pays off, I guess.
Yeah, and I think situationally, things have obviously happened for a reason, but I think for me, the way that I kind of am now, and the way that I live, the way that I do, the way that I think now, I really contribute to you, or what's that word? I kind of give it up to you, I guess, because you've kind of had that influence on the way I should see the world. I think mainly after high school we had that talk, or we had a talk, and it stuck with me really till now. And um, I don't know. It's just that like you said, that's something that I always think of too. And
Yeah, man, and that's all it is, dude. I don't care. I mean, blue collar, white collar, what job, if it's flipping burgers at Burger King or like, a top executive at a Fortune 500 company. I mean, you just go in with the attitude. So the attitude I've always had, man, is like, this company I'm working for signs my paycheck, and I'll give them that much.
yeah,
But at the end of the day, I'm an entrepreneur. I work for me,
yeah,
and I make moves according to what I need. I don't get tied up with loyalty to a customer. I don't get tied up with making friendships I don't want to break. I mean, don't get me wrong. I've made some strong friendships along the way in my career.
yeah,
But at the same time, there's never a thought in my mind, if an opportunity comes across my table, for me to separate myself.
yeah,
And like, I've always had the attitude of, I work for me. And I have this motto that Tina sometimes actually hates it. She loves it at the same time. It's called stepping stones. And no matter what the situation was, whether I was managing a Papa John's back in the day, working 85, 95 hours a week and barely clearing $35,000 a year, the only thing, as frustrating as that is never being home and making very little and barely scraping by and, all of this stuff. But my attitude was, you know what? This is a stepping stone. I'm using this to strategically build my resume.
yeah,
And as I built my resume over the years, it just happened, dude. I mean, like, seriously, I'm sure whenever I made that one move to Southern Kentucky and I went to Cracker Barrel.
oh,
At
yeah,
that point, yeah. So at that point, I physically applied for that job because I knew that I needed to get more experience and more of a full-scale dining experience, right?
mm-hmm.
But from that point on till now, I shit you not, I have never applied for a job. The jobs have always come to me. A headhunter contacted me whenever I was working there for my position after that.
And 7-Eleven.
Yeah. And then whenever I went to work for them, internally, different departments kept promoting me and pulling me into their mix. So I kept getting positions that were higher and paid more because of my performance in the previous position. And then whenever I, came over to the company I'm working for now, it was because someone who was working for me with me over there came here first. So they reached out to me.
Yeah,
So I've literally never applied for anything from Southern Kentucky on. So you're looking at about, what was that, 12, 13, 15 years ago? 15 years ago till now, I've not applied for any of my positions. They've came to me because I've always proven that I was the hardest worker and I was the one that you wanted to depend on for the next position.
yeah,
And that's all it is, man. Whether you want to be an auto mechanic, you want to be a welder, you want to work at a warehouse, you want to be a doctor, I don't give a shit. If you're the best one there, they have to take notice. You have to. You have no choice but to succeed.
yeah,
If you're the best worker there.
yeah, yeah.
And I've always just worked for myself.
Yeah, yeah. That's definitely the mentality I think that I've kind of adopted. I mean, it's not come to fruition just because there's been
Dude,
jobs.
you're young, man.
Yeah, and I mean
Nothing started clicking with me until I was 29, 30 years old. 29, 30 is when it started clicking, man. And moves actually started happening. Because think about it, I'm 45 right now. And really, I didn't start clicking and making moves until Tina and I got married. And we just celebrated 17 years. Yeah.
It's crazy
You
to
know what I'm
think
saying?
about, huh?
I know, right? So, like, I didn't really start making moves until then. And, like, I was 29, 30 years old when I started making those moves.
Yeah.
And it really started clicking. So, you're doing great, dude. I mean, just stay in there and do what you're doing. Then don't let nobody tell you otherwise. I mean, because I'll call them a liar to their face, man. I mean, you're doing exactly what you need to do. Take care of your house. That's all you need to do.
Yeah.
And whenever you get there, you'll find it, and it'll click, and it'll take off, and you'll have whatever success you want.
Should I feel like this is it? But we'll see.
Damn, man. Yeah, hell yeah, do it. Get you a couple sponsors.
Yeah. So, with that, with where you're at in life, because everybody kind of has those lingering thoughts in life of like, what if, do you have any kind of thoughts of like something you wish not you could redo, but you could kind of revisit maybe and kind of go back on? And
You know what, man? I think I'm a firm believer in the fact that even the heartache and the trials and the fucked up stuff that I've been through in life, and the hard times and the stuff that at the time they were happening, I really wish they wouldn't have happened. I guess I'm at the age where it's really cliche, but it's like I think everything really does happen for a reason.
yeah,
I'm a strong believer in that. Now, could I change anything? I don't think that I would go back and change anything per se, but the thing that I would change is anyone in my path along the way, whether it was a coworker or a relative or a child or whatever it is, that I hurt in some way, I would want that hurt to go away.
yeah,
Now, I'm not saying that I would want to not hurt them, which sounds fucked up, right?
yeah,
But at the same time, some of the hurts that I've caused in the past have created me to be a better person and be more aware of hurting people in the future. And it was a lesson learned, if you will.
yeah,
But what I do think about with the hurting is I would hope that the one thing that I could change is if there's anyone out there in my past that is holding on to that hurt and haven't forgiven or forgotten or moved on, then that is what I would want to change, is for that person to understand that everything happens for a reason, that there was never, ever to any person out there any intentional harm intended, and that I love everybody.
yeah,
I would never intentionally hurt anyone, and if the hurt happened, it was just simply part of the experience. And I hate that it happened, but at the same time, I'm glad that it happened because I believe that everybody grows from that
yeah,
if you allow it to.
yeah.
So the thing that I would say that I would want to do different or change, not do different, but change, is that anyone that has been hurt in interactions with me over the years, for them to say, yes, I was hurt, but I grew out of it, and I understand where Kevin was coming from.
Yeah.
That's the thing that I would change. Other than that, man, I mean, it sounds cliche, it sounds stupid, but I think that I am a whole person that I am today because of the experiences that I've had, bad and good.
Yeah, I definitely kind of agree with that because that's something, like I said, that I've adapted over the last 5, 6, 7 years or so. Just kind of seeing the world, and seeing it kind of for what it really is. Just understanding that shit happens, and
Yeah,
life happens and things happen. It is what it is, and
yep,
that I agree. And whatever, if I've ever done anything too, I think I'm kind of right there with you. It's never my intent You know what I'm saying?
No, exactly. Right. Yeah.
And I know it's been situations probably where I didn't react the certain way that I should have, or I didn't do this
Same
or
here. Yeah,
whatever.
I'm the same way, man.
You
Yeah.
know, so but it's not like out of spite. I've never done anything out of spite or hate or
Yep.
whatever. It's just more of what was going on then, and kind of what happened, and blah blah blah. Like you said,
Yeah.
I totally agree with that because I mean,
Yeah. Yeah. Like my intention was always good, but sometimes my intention wasn't enough, and
yeah,
I get it. And and I get it, and I apologize for all of the stuff to anybody that I've ever harmed like that. But at the same time, it's like, oh, here comes the doggies.
took them long enough. It took them long enough. What up? What up,
Uh
Garrett?
oh. Yeah. So, but yeah, man. I mean, that's what it is. It's one of those things that I love all of my experiences. At the same time, there's some pretty hurtful ones, that I know I caused and I experienced.
Yeah,
But I don't think I would change it because I'm a lot more sensitive to things like that now, I think. I hope.
yeah, and yeah. For me, I mean, just some of the things that I've been through. I mean, it's definitely because I don't want to say things in particular because I mean, I doubt people will watch it that kind of are being talked about, but not like in particularly, you know what I'm saying? But
Sure, yeah.
there's been certain situations where it took me a long time to kind of get over certain
Yeah,
situations, you know what I'm saying?
absolutely.
But for me, and just some of the talks that we've had, just shifting my mindset on kind of seeing it a different way and reacting a different way. This took a lot of work, and I've done a lot of work on myself the last maybe 4 years or so. And for me, I've come a long way, and I think I can give myself applause because I was a
Yeah,
shitty person 4 years ago. I'm not gonna lie to you. I mean, I still struggle a little bit with certain things, but
yeah, sure.
I've definitely come a long way. But I contribute that to just experience, and learning
That's all it
experiences
is,
and
man.
shit like that. So
That's all life is, And I mean, I think that it's natural for, at least for me, and if you got any of my DNA in you, obviously you do. There's a little portion of you that's kind of an asshole, man.
yeah,
But it's okay. I know that that's part of me. That I am too. I tend to be that way toward people sometimes. I try to, yeah, every day. It's an improvement process for me.
yeah,
But sometimes a little rough, a little abrasive. I don't see things the way that other people see them sometimes. And it's taken me a long time to do it. And as far as you go, I mean, I think that you've done an amazing job. Just watching you, progress and advance. Shit, man. And just in the last like 2 years, what were you at my house for Thanksgiving? Like not like 2 years ago,
it was
right?
2019. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So even from there to now, I know that you've made like a 180 basically.
yeah,
And I'm really proud of you for that, and I think that you're doing amazing. And there's no doubt in my mind that you know by the time you get to your upper 20s, I mean, enjoy your time now, dude. I mean, you're paying your bills, you're doing what you got to do. Have a little bit of fun. You and Kayla deserve that. These years are precious, and I mean, like a lot of people that get into these, especially serious relationships, don't have that opportunity.
yeah,
They get into serious relationships because they have to, because
yeah,
she's pregnant or they get married, or you guys are living it up right now, dude. And like, take advantage of it.
yeah, for
And
sure.
then 28, 29 years old, something's going to click. I'm telling you. I'm not saying you got to get your shit together by then. I'm saying your shit's going to get together.
Yeah,
Watch.
yeah,
You will.
yeah, and yeah, I think just the way like I've just mentioned, just the way that I've kind of clicked something in my brain and kind of just seen things a little different. Because I mean, life sucks,
Yeah.
but even in moments where or spans of time, however long that time may last, life fucking blows. But there's always something after that, and there's something that always follows up after that. So
Yep.
that's kind of something that I try to wrap my brain around, because every
Yep.
bad moment that I've ever been through, I got through it. You know.
Yeah.
So and I can contribute that to the talks that we've had. I can contribute that to the motivational speakers that I've listened to, just
Yeah.
living life, just
Mhm.
experience, all of that. It's evident. Every time you go through something bad, something good happens. And it's a metaphor that I tell Kayla
Yeah.
all the time. Life is a roller coaster. And roller coasters,
Yeah.
they go like this every single time. The lowest are the low, the highs are high. It's a roller coaster. It's just,
That's it.
yeah,
And that's what it's always is, man. It's just stepping stones. You just got to keep moving forward. Don't try your best not to go backwards. Do that as little as possible. Keep moving forward with it. And like you said, it's cyclic, dude. I mean, it gets bad. You got to have bad. You can't get better if you don't get bad.
yeah,
I mean, the whole adage of you have to fail. People fail way more than they win. People lose way more than they win. And if you find someone that's extremely successful, you also find someone that's extremely a failure.
right.
That's just the fact. I mean, I think it was Michael Jordan that said, yeah, he made this many career shots, but he also did like 10 times that many career misses.
Yeah.
Like he missed 10 shots for every one he hit.
Kobe's missed the most shots in NBA history.
There you go. Perfect
But he's
example,
a five-time
man.
champion. I mean,
But he's a fight exactly.
and he's a legend. Rest in peace,
He
Mamba.
takes those shots. And has it deterred him? No. He takes those shots after shot after shot because he knows that it's going to win championships.
Yeah.
That's what does it, man.
Yeah.
And it's just, I wish it wasn't true. I wish we could say, hey, man, here's a formula you can follow. You're never going to lose. And by the time you're 30, you're going to be a millionaire. That shit don't exist, man.
No.
It's not out there.
Mm-mm.
It's not real. So, yeah, you're doing it. You're doing what you need to do. And I think you're doing great, man.
Yeah, I appreciate that. Yep. So, yeah, I guess we'll wrap this episode up, and I'll definitely have you on another one because
Yeah, dude, seriously, yeah. You get our schedules mixed up or matched up, put something on calendars, and I'd love to do this. This was a blast. I loved it.
Yeah.
Had a couple drinks, relaxed for the day. I'm gonna go in here and watch some Family Guy and pass out probably.
Was it 8:45 there? You're gonna be asleep by 9.
Yeah, 8:45. Yeah.
Be asleep by 9.
Shit, man, I'm old. 9 o'clock's bedtime, dude.
That's wild to me. I mean, I've gotten a little bit better. I've probably go to sleep about 1 in the morning now. It used to be.
No, man. Yeah, no, that's stupid. Ain't
Shit,
no way.
it used to be worse than that. It used to be like 5:30 a.m. because I work nights. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
So,
well, that's an excuse. That's an
Yeah.
all right excuse.
yeah.
What are you on, like second shift now?
Well, yeah. It's about till 5:30 a.m. So, yeah. I'm about to cut that though. I can't do it no more. I can't.
So you do still work overnights?
Yeah, I'm trying to go to days
Uh,
now. I'm trying to become a outstanding citizen. Participate. In
Gotcha.
civilization.
Get that 9 to 5 Monday through Friday gig.
Yeah, I'm trying to. I'm saying I'm trying to be living the American dream. You know what I'm saying?
Have your little garden out back.
Yeah, white picket fence. All that stuff. All that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Pink houses.
Yeah, all that. Yeah, but we'll wrap this one up, and we'll hopefully, and not hopefully, but we will, be back with another one down the
Yeah,
road.
let's do it, man. I'm down. I'm down anytime.
Because my plan is to upload every Friday, so whatever happens in between every day in between that. So
Sweet. Yeah, absolutely.
So, this is the outro. If you're watching, I appreciate you, and until next time.